external tools, but what we need is control internally. You know, so when you can do that, see the need for the external app. On the other hand, external apps can make us weaken in our capacities internally. So especially the attention, people are losing attention because of the social media and multiple stimuli that are coming at
Right.
us. Yeah. So that's why with some understanding, some of them, I don't mind people using them, but there are better ways you can cultivate, and that will be much more resilient and much more stronger in the situations where you are really, kind of always depending on something external is what we don't want to commit ourselves. But we can always use them temporarily or to start some process and then go from there. Yeah. Mind space, I looked at it. Some other people had to because they don't have any other means of doing something on a regular basis. But I was going to teach them something simple that they could do, all the way from simple concentration to meditativeness all the time. You know, that is pretty possible, and I can testify to that because it can be meditative in circumstances where everybody is going really anxious, nervous, or crazy. You can find that inner peace and stay in that. That's what I wanted to present to people, and have been doing that. And people who kind of uh, understand the reactive nature of our the anxious nature of ours, the depressive nature of ours, once they understand, they were able to be more non reactive in situations where uh, otherwise they were reactive before. But respond activities and then be performing in a flow state rather than anxious or hurried state. All those benefits are there, but we have to really understand what is the real meditation is, and have the proper training, and also watch themselves when they are not meditating, what is happening to them. That kind of things. We're going to talk about all that today, and see whether we will be able to come to some conclusions and some practice people can do. But I also teach on the side for the people who want to have relaxation, who want to have relief from the anxiety and depression. I mean, we do medication a little bit, but then I do medications, but I do more like a non-pharmacological measures. One of them is the meditation. Understanding what is meditation is. There are people on all the channels now, so we can open up the meeting. I mean, I'm going to talk a few minutes about what I wanted to say about my journey towards the mid, and then I go from there. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask me, and that's what the people as they come into the rooms, and then they open up the discussion. Okay, Vaishnav?
Yes.
Yeah. You have
Yeah,
any?
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you, how do you start cultivating? You said, external
Yeah.
validation is just temporary, but
Yes.
how do you cultivate that non-reactive
Yeah.
state inside you?
Let me take the whole day
How
and
do you
then see.
start to cultivate?
Yeah. See, what it is you take the whole day from AM to PM. There's a simple routine that we could follow, and that will help us to do the formal meditation too. When you get in the morning, usually people open up their devices and get on the media, social media, TV, and all that, right? So those electronic stimuli, I would like to people to put away for, and in that hour they could do something like awareness practice. That means you just pay attention to what was happening around you or what is happening around you in that 1 hour. Even if you're doing exercise, be at your focus. Like that. So early in the morning, first hour is very very important for people because most of them they become very nervous and agitated in that hour. They are susceptible. So that's why if you have slept very well and you wake up, first thing you want to do is just be aware of yourself, your surroundings, what is happening in your body. Don't get on the train of the thought right away, because if you do that, it will from last night and go on. Okay, so put everything outside and cultivate that presence awareness. Okay, that is the first step. And then once you get hold of yourself, once you have the presence, then you go and deal with whatever emails, whatever things you have. It can happen in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 1 hour. Usually, first 1 hour dedicate to your self care, kind of, you know. And then you can also do a formal meditation where you sit down and uh, really have a straight back and focus your gaze between the eyebrows and close the eyes, and then just focus on the breath in and out, in and out. That is the upasana. That's the basic thing where you are trying to concentrate on one center. Here it is the breathing. And if you just see your thoughts are not going anywhere, but then bring them back, bring them back to the breath. That kind of thing really helps in the morning. The deep breathing also makes you slow down the thought. Okay. The first step in any meditation is just concentrate, get all the thoughts to on one center, you know. And then once you see the thoughts are slowing down, slow them down, and then you will be uh, seeing the thoughts, whether negative or positive, slow down. And then you will learn the technique of how can I change this negativity to positive. You know, have something around that and make it positive. Otherwise, the negative spiral goes down. That is the advanced step. I'm just talking about the steps you could go further. You know, and then once you cultivate that presence of mind, being in the present, go and take it as a fragrance through the day. That's how I describe it. So I'm always in the present during the day means I'm conscious of what I'm doing. I'm focused on what I'm doing. That is the second step you could do through the day. Instead of running five things at a time, you only focus on one thing at a time. Even if a few seconds, just make sure you are focused on one thing. So that's how the multitasking, multi-stimulation can be handled. You know? And as you pay attention to every task of your job and your work, and then you will feel more relaxed of the mind. Otherwise, mind will be running faster and faster. Suppose you are doing information work like the doctors we do, or the accountants, or anybody. What you do is you take breaks in between, like every 2 hours or so. Presence breathing break, I call it. You just stop and take deep breaths, and then bring your whole thing to the breath. You know, that kind of thing 3 or 4 times during the day. If you do it, it's much better because you are recollecting how you are in the, and then you are doing that again. Okay, and after that, in the evening again, before you go to bed, you have to do something formal meditation exercise you did in the morning, you repeat in the evening too. And also try to eliminate all the reactions you went through. This is a very slow process, but as you are persistent, as you are doing the same thing again and again, then it will be very easy for you to discover this. It's a muscle you can build up where you can come to the present and attention right away. That kind of practice is done morning in the evening. You can really remove the toxicities of hurriedness or anxiety, all these things you are developing because of the modern work conditions or more modern work uh, relationship. All those things can be actively attended to and taken away from us. If you don't do that, once in a while you do that, it will never pick it up. Okay, so that is you do that daily life. Now let's go to step by step the meditation, why the ancient did and what they said, and then how the modern times have picked up this meditation too. See, it could be quite brooding on a concept, or it can be a beautiful. of the highest spiritual contemplation. It can vary between the two, right? See, Patanjali Yoga, even though it was there before, but he put it in a nice form. He said, uh, we want to still the thinking, the thinking faculty. That means the perpetually surging waves of the mind. You want to still them. That is he called chitta vritti nirodha. Then what happens? To still the thought in order to calm the ocean of awareness, from which everything arises. All the thoughts, everything arises from that awareness. All these thoughts kind of mask those real swarupa. They said swarupa tada swarupe avasthana. When it is still, only then you see it. Otherwise you cannot see it. That's what they said. So essence is the thought when it's needed. Otherwise, maintain it like it is a still, and then when you still, you will be aware of what are. And that is a very important mind control you want to have. And initially, it looks like a very formidable task. It is not easy. Usually, they say self realization, right? You want to have Atma Sakshakar, all that. Ancients said, and they said the whole purpose of human life is to turn inside and find out who you are. Saskataro or self realization in English, right? But they say we are already self realized and we are not aware of it, you know, and remove the obstruction of thought that you are not self-realized, and that for that they what is called vichara, investigate, self-inquiry. What is this says they're talking about? How does the thoughts come from? How do the thoughts kind of goes from, and then how do they bury in our subconscious and go up? All those things are there. So always you want to see the thoughts are concentrated. When you have the stability and also the fixity of the restless mind, then you will have a constant on that. If the thoughts stay all over, pull them back center. And then you kind of slow them down. And then most important thing, learn to watch the thoughts as they're happening within you. That watching has to be done lot of times because they're so mercurial, so quick. It's very difficult to slow them down and to watch them. But if you are determined about I'm going to be aware of thoughts, I'm going to watch them. That is really what Krishnamurti called a real meditation. Then you can watch everything happening inside you, outside you, even in the presence of, instead of giving it to them and then going on the train of the thought, you want to watch, slow them down. When they slow them down, you go to one thought eventually, and then you go beyond that thought. All that is needed is how can you simplify the external life? How can you give importance to the internal life where you have stability of the mind? If you give the importance for that, slowly it will get. And important to formal training is as important not to be exposed to the life that are causing these thoughts go so fast. So that is the problem with the modern life because we have lost touch with the nature. We don't go and then smell the roses. We don't go and feel the air. We don't go by the seaside and to see the waves, all that. Don't slow our life enough, and that's why it's always running, running, running. And as you are allowing the thought to run in fifth grade, then if you don't slow it down, it will perpetually go much faster. That's a most of the time, most of the modern workers kind of neurotic because they cannot be in charge of their own mind. So that is why most of the people are not having the attention span. Most of the people don't have the concentration. Most of the people don't even enjoy things. And also, when they are creative, like writing a book or sculpture, poetry, whatever creative work are, they are not able to focus because they have no concentration. Thought is going all over. As I always tell, Arjuna asks Krishna a question. Hey, you told us to do the meditation, but it's not that easy. This thought is, or the mind is like a wind, it goes all over, and I cannot really bring it together. And Krishna answer is, yeah, that is true. He acknowledges that is true, but he also says you have to have two qualities to do this. You have to have abhyasa and vairagya. Abhyasa means practice. Whenever the thought is going all over, bring it back to the center. That is the practice you have to do. And the most of the Western side people practice. People put up this single-minded willpower and all that, but it doesn't work for them because they don't develop this dispassion for the things of the life. They want to have all the materialistic ways of life. At the same time, they want to have this stability of the mind. It may calm down for that day and all that. We have to come back to this practice again. Suppose you develop dispassion to most of the simple things, most of the things that you don't really need time. That means an hour's to you know all the bhogas they call. That means luxuries, life comforts, and all those things. Right? You have to have a attitude like they are not that important as you realize yourself. If that is not there, if you are a householder, you are doing a job, you are having all this kind of meditation practice is okay to calm the mind down and to take it easy to relax and then come to work and all that. But if you are serious and if you really go into the real process of meditation, then you have a dispassion about things that are not meditative, that are not permanent, that are not really. And then you lodge it yourself into the meditativeness, which is remaining in yourself, which is really conscious being, really awareness, that is thoughtless. See, consciously aware and thoughtless. So that means thoughts are not coming to you because you are aware of everything. The other when the thoughts come also, these thoughts are happening to me. You won't be automatically consumed by them. Then you are in your real self, which is meditative. That means no impending coming in unconsciously, compulsory. That won't be there. Your nature is pure, peaceful happiness. And you will be lodging into that state. You understand the deep meditative process. That is our ancient said. It's a system of what self inquiry, where it start happening, you question where this is coming from. You question the root of the thought. Then you find out it's coming from your real silence. And once you are in that silence, and these thoughts will automatically, completely, that is where it comes the other way. Whereas in yoga, you do so many steps to come to the stage of niruddha. That means stopping all the thoughts. Remember yoga, chitta vritti nirodha. Once you there, then you see the real self. But with the knowledge of uh, Advaita Vedanta, you come to the self or the real swarupa of yours, real shape of yours, and you stare. Then automatically all the thoughts stop. So to understand that kind of knowledge, you need to have a very pure, and that's why they prescribe karma yoga, where you do the work without really having an ego that I am doing it, and without really asking for the profits. You give the profits to the divine. That's the karma yoga, the whole thing was. So, two ways. One way is to cultivate habit of getting the mind under control with a deliberate practice. The other way is just be knowledgeable about the whole thing and let the mind be calm by itself, because you are not in the mind, because mind is your tool, but you are establish yourself in the real self. Okay? That's kind of difficult. It is easy to say. To achieve that state and to experience requires a lot of examination of the current life, and also understanding the goals and uh, of your life, and then understanding how to develop dispassion to the things that are not important for you or meaningful for you. So many dynamics are involved. It's not like something is right, something is wrong, but the highest human being can achieve is that meditative state where everything is calm and peaceful and happy. Just be, just be yourself. That is the state that they talked about. Advaita Vedantis have achieved that through the knowledge, and that's what Ramana Maharshi, Krishnamurti, all these people rather talk about. Not a system, but they achieved this by experience in their very early life. Ramana have achieved around 16, 17 years. So understanding their experience, understanding what they taught about, he basically says only two ways of meditation, mind control. One is Manolaila, where you kind of breathe deep and then thoughts down, and but then you can suppress the thought like that, but they will come back like a vacuum. You push them later on, they will come up. But real meditativeness happens when you what's called mononasha. That means you have to understand, is there a real mind or just a bunch of thoughts? Once you find that they are all a bunch of thoughts, and you get rid of agitated thoughts, dull thoughts, and then transgress them, then you are in the mind, but not in the sense of a lot of unpurified mind. But a purified mind is where you go beyond the thought, beyond the dullness of it. That is what he called manonasha, destruction of the so-called mind we imagine. And then mind is not there whenever you don't want it, but you only when you want to use the thought, it will come into your purview, and like thought and mind are your slaves rather than you are slave to them. It's the highest form, but generally for regular life, what it is cultivate calming the mind, finding the peace within the thoughts, and not reacting to them that much every day. And then every day, clean it up in the morning, clean it up in the evening, and that kind of simple practice can be incorporated in lifestyle. And then as you go that, you can explore further aspects of medicine. But somebody like me, who is a physician who wanted to understand dementia, and also somebody who's a yoga practitioner for years who wanted to understand what is the definition, that could be very professional, very important to understand. Also there was this inner compulsion to understand this. But then what could we do? We don't have to put body into one particular corner and have to be no. You start with where you are. That's where knowledge is important. What am I doing? What is happening? Am I really persistent thought? Am I really worried about the anxiety or burnout and not able to pay attention my job? All those things are important, right? You kind of also look at having any addictions, like thought is the biggest addiction. Other people do with smoking, alcohol, drugs, and all that too. Do we have to do it or can we do without it? I, for one, am a teetotaler. I never smoke. I don't do any illegal drugs and all that. Alcohol also. I used to take a glass of wine before, but now with all this meditation thing, I can't even smell alcohol too. So that's a good thing. So you can be like that. You can get a mastery over your habits with this kind of control over your mind. You know, both mind control and awareness are kind of different, because mind control, thought control, but being aware is the one you try. So I always say mindfulness is a misnomer. What you want to be is to be in awareness. So I say fullness of whatever you are doing. If you cultivate that, that takes you to the final stage of meditation much faster. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about for a 30 minute, and then leave the other 30 minutes for anybody to come up and talk about any doubts or any questions they have. I'll be happy to answer. Both on the wisdom and instead on the clubhouse too. You know, if you have any questions, please come up and ask them, and we can continue the discussion. If you have your own version of application, please present it for the use of everybody. I'm happy to share that with you. So let's see, anybody wants to come here. So there's uh, so many people on the Instagram too. Anybody wants to come up? Pawan, you are there too. So okay, as they take time, I will how it all started for me, how it has become such a big deal was. As I said, I saw people, yogis who were living long life and very pleasant, and they were see these sadhu, all these people at various occasions. I saw them coming out of their reclusiveness to the weddings sometimes, and they ate enormous amount of food. That was very, and also I saw them going to the well and stay there for a long period, which was very very unusual and very surprising to us. And then I saw people who do the yoga asanas very, that all was in my memory. But the main thing I kept in was they were very sharp even into late into their ninth. My own grandfather, 100 and he died. He used to come and climb up the stairs and come upstairs, because we were living in the second floor, right? He used to come. But then 93, 94 years, then also he came up and climbed the stairs, and also he was very sharp, and he used to sing a lot of songs of importance. So that was a different generation, I think. That memory was there in me when I first came to United States. Western educated guy, India. Our school used to teach us yoga once a week, but that's only hatha yoga, never about mind and all that. Actually, I understood for the mind after I came to the state, and when I was reading BK Sengar and also Krishnamurti. So when I came into this country in 1980s, I was in a geriatric facility, and I saw a lot of dementia, and uh, began to read about that, and we found that people who are retiring and then they really reading their mind, not doing much work and just watching TV, they went into dementia much more. So all that made me think about what is that described by our ancients, what are the parts they're talking about, what and then I was really amazed at the discoveries that they already made, and they talked about consciousness, awareness, mind, thought, and all these topics. Once I took it up, everything changed for me. I was able to focus better. I was able to remember things better. I was able to sleep better, and I was able to control the situations much better, especially with the patient. Then I went to New York to do further in the medical career, and with there I kind of I kind of uh, saw these people really explore into the mind and neuroscience and all that, right? Out of all that came out, this meditative practice where I found. in the emergency, I used to have a lot of emergencies, and I was able to handle three emergencies at a time because of my, you know, calmness in the mind. That was very useful, and I cultivated that. As a matter of fact, one time we had our building was 10-1, and there was a fire in the eighth story. So they brought 50 people with the fire injuries or smoke inhalation to the emergency room, which is on the first floor. My supervisor wanted everybody to go away some other hospital because they were all panicked, but they don't know what to do. But because my cultivation of the presence, being in the present, I was able to take over and handle that. I'm just telling you, not egotistical, but I'm saying how you can be calm in the middle of a disaster. You know, and that because I was practicing that beforehand, when the really crisis happened, I was able to be like that. So we can learn and do that. That's my point. And after that, I got into Krishnamurti, and he was fascinating because he really talked about where the thought can be pathological and thought can be very useful. And he said something like he never minds anything because he has no entity to feel or to get hurt, anything like that. And that was a very, very important thing to find out. And then, as we saw more patients with the depression, anxiety, and all the problems with the information overload, all the problems with the burnout and the stress, I had to look more deeply into that. Now, I train burnout victims with the regular looking at their mind process, understanding what is meditation, and we have a practice daily incorporate in their daily routine. And that is really helping them, to understand what their own mind is doing. They are not in control of the mind, but the mind is bossing over them. So that switch really helped a lot of people. So Pawan, welcome. You have any question today?
Yeah, yeah, sir. I have a few questions, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, so first thing, what I wanted to ask. Yeah, sir. I wanted to tell about acknowledge that thing. Like when you're already calm, you don't need any external like cigarettes or
yes.
alcohol. You're telling you're taking wine.
No,
Even I used to smoke, and then later when I started doing all this, following your words and like following all this
yeah,
gurujis and all, it made me calmer. And yeah, that's a good thing. That's a very good advantage
yeah,
over other people. And I think if everybody will become aware, the cigarette industry will be
yeah,
fallen down because
yeah.
nobody will smoke, nobody will drink, and
But
I think that's why the people don't want them to be
yeah,
aware, like on the other side.
yeah,
And my question, sir, this I just want to acknowledge this fact. It's very beautiful. Sir. And my question is about the mind. Yes, sir. About the mind, yeah. So you were talking about this dementia and all, and even I used to wonder why these people become like mad people, like mentally when they're weak. I used to think, is it their mind or are their soul itself from their soul itself? Are they mentally weak? Or
yeah,
when you say dementia, like, is it the soul being weak or is it the mind? Because it's a flow of consciousness, right? We are
yeah,
all consciousness, conscious being. How come if if you're trying to, are you getting my points? I think,
yeah.
are you able to
No,
comprehend?
you are saying is the thought stronger or your self stronger? The soul is stronger.
Yeah, when
Ac-
people become mad, how is that working, sir? Is
Yeah,
it like,
actually,
I
the
want to
brain
understand?
the brain is the organ. That makes it very difficult to sustain by itself. If you use the thought very persistently, never give a rest to the mind with the silence that it can achieve, it can go out of whack. That was what is happening with a lot of these dementia people. They were not using it and getting rusted, or they were using too much, and then anxious and all those conditions. But actually, if you sleep on your thoughts, all the thoughts won't strengthen your sleep in the night. You know. On the other
Okay, it
hand,
will
if you
take the
sleep,
power.
yeah, if you settle down in your being and then sleep in the morning when that means your awareness should be strong. Okay, and then sleep on that. Then don't listen to music, don't read anything, just be aware and then go to sleep and then wake up in the morning. You have a lot more strength. What it is when somebody gets activated with a thought or a crisis, something happens, and somebody comes and creates a big fight between friends, and then their mind gets activated, and then they go into a crisis mode, like, then it's very difficult for a mind to come to normal. What you need to do
Okay.
is you need to work on
Mm.
the predispositions your mind has already accumulated. For example, you are there, you are expecting good greeting from your friend, but your friend comes and insults you, you get hurt
Mm.
more, and you carry that, and then later feel about it, and your mind go on thinking about it. That is the storm that people can
Becomes a
have.
loop, sir. Yeah,
Yeah,
it becomes a loop,
yeah,
like a
but
loop.
the loop can be stronger in the old people because they have cultivated so much. This is in the neuroplasticity now. If you think
Oh,
something
wow.
unconsciously, it will create its own neuronal path in the brain. So that they call samskara in yoga. They know about that. So suppose you are not a aware person, you are thinking about this
Mm.
politics and all these things which are not really good for you, and then you kind of mess up your own brain too. Suppose you are not accumulating toxic thoughts and toxic feelings, and
Sir,
also,
hold on, sir. Sir,
yeah,
I'm so sorry.
yeah.
Please don't use you, sir. I get very anxious until you
No,
about this negative things.
I'm
I get
talking
very
about,
please
yeah,
listen to a person. That
yeah,
will be
like
more.
a practitioner. If they kind of develop that kind of compulsive habits, unconscious habits, and then let
Mm.
them grow in their mind, then what happens
Mm-hmm.
is these neural paths form, and then
Okay,
when
and get stronger.
they get stronger, and they are without not in their control, they come on their own. So that's why you want to be aware all the time. Whatever you are doing, just be aware. Suppose you have to think something, like, for example, I'm doing this meeting. After the meeting, all this washes off my mind. That is a
Oh.
habit we can make ourselves. You can take some things that you want to think about these things that I encourage all the time. Question it, doubt it, and find out the truth. That's all fine, but then don't make them unconscious rumblings that are there, and they're going to be like that. So you have to develop a method of how to be in control of your thoughts and feelings, and how to use them properly, and how to be active whenever it's all done. Wipe away from your
Okay.
brain. That's where this meditation really helps, where you can sit down and say, okay, all the thoughts coming up, you watch them and you slow them down. And they slow them down, they will go to one thought and go beyond that thought. And that can be done with the
Mm.
practice. All you have to do is, okay, daily the same time, same place, go there, close your routine, and then just to close your eyes, and then follow the breath, follow the thought, watch the thought, slow them down, and go one thought, and then you'll be there. So that is the practice
So
wise of
base.
yoga. But if you are
Okay.
knowledgeable jnana yoga, then you establish
Mm.
yourself in the self. That's much easier to make the mind silent already. That is what happens to me because of those insights, all that work. So 20 years of work. My wine also, I was not
Wow.
drinking lately. I don't drink a daily hour. Once in a while when we go to social functions, doctor functions, and all that.
So
Then
you're not compulsive. You're not compulsive.
no,
You
no,
just
no. I
take
never,
it in
I
some time.
never
Yeah.
had that. Only once in a while at dinner time we might have taken it. But why I mentioned is after this meditation practices, I can't even smell the cough syrup. My mind is so
Oh
sensitive.
wow.
That's how anybody can be like that. So you can be like that. So maybe 20, 30 years ago, I might have taken a few glasses of wine, but right now I cannot even smell it. That's a good thing, I think. you know so why I mentioned that is what it do meditation in that way. Say you don't have to drink, you don't have to smoke, you don't have to develop this compulsive thinking is also a habit. You don't have to be there, like,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. So any other questions, Pawan? There's somebody else also here.
Yes, sir. Yes, somebody said hello.
Yeah,
Somebody, Dennis has said hello. If he can come up, and I
yeah.
can wait.
No, no, there's somebody in the clubhouse. Let me talk to him. Hello, Kiru.
Okay,
How are
sir.
you?
Okay.
Yeah, Kiru, are you there? You came up on the stage. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah. Hello, Kiru. He's standing on the stage there, but he's not unmuting himself.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Then
that
meanwhile,
those are
yeah.
the daily
Meanwhile, I
benefits.
can.
Yeah, daily benefits of meditation are you can
Mm-hmm.
be not bothered by information overload, overwhelm,
Ah, yes, sir.
stress,
Yes, sir. Okay.
burnout. Your attention span will not go down, so that you can read, write, create all those things much more comfortably. It's not like these people.
Beautiful, sir.
Yeah, now people are losing the
Beautiful.
attention span, right? And that's going to be much
Yes, sir.
worse with the artificial intelligence. That's why this is very
Okay.
important for us to realize that we have to cultivate these habits. That is another thing too. So all these things are very very important for to sleep better, you know, and even to listen
Okay.
to somebody better, so that our relationships will
Mm-hmm.
be better. So if you can control yourself, and suppose you go somewhere and somebody comes at you with violence, the road rage, right? People will be uh, killing each other because before that they start with an argument, they kind of let it go, they don't have control, they just go into the rage, right? All those things will not happen.
Yes.
We'll be more civilized people, trying to respect each other or listen each other. Those kind of things are very important. And your quality of work will be better because you are focusing on things. You are attentive to things. That way you get benefit of doing something very positively, and then you feel like I'm doing this, but I'm enjoying this life, this work also. All those things are there, and of course, good night sleep is very good for you. And also, I will tell you something very important I learned was they
Mm-hmm.
said the person who is self-realized, that means realize that he is an Atman and stayed there and stays there all the time and uses the thought with control, they are very healthiest,
Okay. Physically.
physically, mentally. Why? Because this
Mm-hmm.
movement of thought that we allow it to happen, let it go wherever it goes, that is secretes a lot of stress hormones. But when you are calm,
Okay.
quiet, peaceful within, and then approach even the challenges also approach with a equanimous mind, that means the mind movement is not going whatever it wants to. So that
We are
lack,
controlling it.
yeah, that lack of mind movement is very healthy thing. It doesn't damage itself, and also it doesn't allow the stress hormones to secrete, so that it is good for the this
So it won't interfere with the body.
body.
It won't interfere with the body's
Yeah,
natural process.
yeah,
Usually, when we
yeah,
are stressed, it interferes with the
yeah.
body natural process.
Exactly. Not only that, but also it's a good soup it makes, within you.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we are with our reactions, with our anxieties, with our depressions, we make bad soup. And then these things are perpetuating themselves if you allow them. See, a lot of times what happens
Yes, sir.
is
It can go into
some,
a loop. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
somebody is in a job and they have a bad boss and they have problems with the boss. They cannot do anything about it. They
Mm-hmm.
go and then just turn it
Yeah.
everything into themselves, and then they get into this bad soup without them knowing about it. On the other
Okay.
hand, if they can not turn the reactions against themselves, and then really take it
Mm.
easy, learn some coping skills and all that, that will be very good. The people can talk to other people, can
Very much
learn.
needed.
Yeah,
Very much needed. Yes.
yeah, and then very much needed. So especially nowadays, because all these multiple stimuli coming at us all the time, more and more.
Mm.
This time it's very very important that we kind of slow ourselves down and be like that. So that's why in the morning, in the evening, I recommend people sit down and calm themselves down and get to the center and be in the center if possible. There are so many ways you can do music, you can do journaling, you can do breathing, you can do just writing down something or listening to uh, even
Or
live
even
dance.
singing.
Yeah,
We can also sing.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
sing. Oh, wonderful. That's a beautiful thing to write. All those things that are taking you away from this perpetual neurotic thought, I think we should try to do.
Mm.
Enjoy ourselves. Go to the nature, enjoy the flowers, enjoy the sunshine, air, and also the
Sir, I
company.
think to enjoy all those things you're telling to enjoy, to enjoy that we need, otherwise thoughts won't others, sir.
No, no.
Right? Like
What happens is,
thoughts.
if you see a flower, if you see
Mm-hmm.
the flower, the sensation comes to you. Don't be analyzing that. Just be with it.
Mm. Okay, okay. Just see it.
See it, enjoy it. But if the moment you're having it and giving it a name and all that, you are not in touch with the moment. So
Okay.
nature helps. How it helps is it kind of engulfs your senses. If you don't really actively do other, so
Okay. Okay.
there is a advanced method of is where you allow the sense to meet, and then when the sense is something coming back in return, you don't want to handle that. That's how it's all a question
Wow.
of understanding how the nature is, how we interact with it, how we are not allowing it to engulf us. That is called forest
Mm.
bathing. When you go, you can have
Wow.
much less stress. Actually, there's a technique that we use as a physician. Go and walk in the
Mm.
then or do the garden work. That's a very very good thing. But anything you
Mm.
do, even doing suppose you are doing some dishes at home in the kitchen after your guest left,
Mm.
do them with attention. That itself will be very therapeutic. Do something with
Wow.
your
Yes,
body.
sir. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I
those
agree with
those
you.
kind
Yes.
of things.
Definitely.
Yeah. So all these things are very important. I hope people pick up some practice. As I said, I'm going to work with people who are coming to my wellness club, not just lectures, but then actual working with their pain points, with their problems, or understanding whatever. And not only that, I'm going to share with them the books I have read over the years and the others that I have understood, or the spiritual teachers like Ramana. This is not convey given like just a word. You got to understand that and then investigate yourself. That process, if somebody has, I can share with them. And also
Wow.
the music I have is also very conducive. There are musical compositions by the ancient at 426 or something megahertz are there. Those scales are very important to induce rhythms in us that are very good for the meditation. So that is also
Mm-hmm.
there. So
Wow.
there's so much in the Samaveda, the all the arts that we can do. You know, all these things are very
Beautiful.
very available. And only thing is, modern culture is kind of stimulates the senses to the extent that they lose them. Whereas ancient
Mm.
cultures, not just India, Japan, China, and all that, they kind of sublimate the senses. So
Okay.
sensory pleasure is at a bay in ancient times, and the modern times we let it loose, and that's a big problem. You know, so all these things are important to understand and then do that way. Okay, so um, so that's what I wanted to talk about meditation. As a whole, we reviewed the wellness ways because there are four pillars according to the ancients. First one is food, second one is activity, third one is sleep, and fourth one is the meditation or thought. You have to attend to all these things properly, common sense ways, and then you are going to be benefited a lot. I'm a physician. I prescribe medication, but I don't prescribe unless there is a reason. But what my
Okay.
focus is always how can you improve your food, your activity, your sleep, and your meditation so that you can prevent your body to become ill. So that's why I'm a wellness proponent, encouraging people to understand what is wellness, do the stuff that they can do for enhancing the wellness. Don't get sick.
Mm.
Improve your health, improve
Mm.
your fitness, improve your resiliency, improve your immunity by doing this commonsensical thing. And if you get sick, then fine, we will want to treat you. But my main duty is make sure that you know the our regular health principles of how to be healthy, how to be well. So I think that's the big problem with all our health system is they don't do anything with these things. They just allow you to get sick, and then when you get become sick, they will treat you. But then also chemicalization, lot of medications. People have 30, 40 medications in their old age. They themselves cause problems, But if you want to be healthy, you got to practice these habits right from the youth and even children also. The more they are active, the more they will better. Youth also has to have that because the culture has gone from physical work to more like a mental work now. So that's why you have
Yes,
to
sir.
get with your body in a shape and also meditate so that you don't have the side effects of the civilization that we are developing. It's going to be much worse with the AI coming in. Attention is going to be attacked on that, and the virtual reality means you are not even going to be related to the body mind complex like you are related now. Now you're going to be related to the virtual reality of yours. So that's another problem there too. Community sense is not there, and also there is no devotional something bigger than me is there. That is also not there. All these are going to exacerbate the need for meditation.
Relaxation. Yeah, yeah.
Relaxation and meditation. Meditation can be very very relaxing. Unless you are relaxed in your mind, you cannot have the meditation. So anyway, so that's about it. I think it's about 9 now, so we will stop this here now. And anybody else has any questions, they can come up. Otherwise, I'm ready to close the room now. Okay. And by the way, tomorrow night I'm going to do a major topic. Who am I? 8 o'clock time. I'm going to talk about what is that question, why is that so important, why it has become the gigantic question for any human being.
Wow.
So there's a big topic.
Sir, you're doing on Instagram, sir? Sir?
All channels. Tomorrow is
Ah,
going to be
lovely, sir. I
all
will be
channels.
there, sir,
Yeah,
tomorrow.
all
I will
channels.
be there.
Yeah. So I think
Lovely,
a
sir.
lot of people are interested in the topic at one time. That's
Yes,
why
sir.
I
Yes.
wanted to talk about.
Sir, and okay, I just have one last question. You did one session about the thoughts, tip of the iceberg, everything
Yeah,
you were talking on live session.
yeah.
It's recorded, no, sir. It's there in your profile. I can go and check it out.
Yeah, I think I've done so many talks. It should be there. You know.
Okay,
Uh,
I'll check it out, sir. Check
yeah.
it out.
But these kind of things I'm going to talk more in detail in my wellness club one on one because
Okay.
the Zoom sessions, right? So I'm inviting people to come and join that. Then also there will be special sessions for the wellness club members on my Facebook group, not group, the BFL group. Facebook group is there,
Oh,
and I think around 30 members are there. For those people, I will exclusively come there for that club and do that. General membership is free, but then a part of this wellness club membership covers all that. My talks, my live sessions, my exposure for all the books that I was going to discuss them. I mean, there will be some time I can also see. If I like better to see them and talk to them. That way.
yes, sir. It's
Yeah,
good to see you, sir. Yeah,
yeah,
instead of in Clubhouse, I can just listen to you.
yeah,
Instagram, I can see your beautiful face,
yeah.
and yeah, good.
Zoom is going to be much better because I can show them stuff.
Mm.
I can show them the slides. I can show them all those video tapes and everything. So this wellness club is going to be very valuable if people can understand why it is established, what they can get out of it, and they actively participate. If they don't participate,
I'll try to join, sir.
then
Definitely try to
yeah.
join.
So
I will
hopefully,
listen.
we will keep on advertising, telling them why it is so and what we are doing there, and hopefully people will come around. And then there will be special yoga sessions for people's pain. Suppose somebody has some disease and all that, to do session for them. Addressing that particular disease, how they can improve that, and also all the
Oh,
meditations will be done actively, and music and books will be shared with them so that they can also enjoy them. So I'm going to share everything that I know, everything I possess in that way, in a personal development. So hopefully we'll get very pointed guidance for themselves, their own problems, their own pain
that's
points.
beautiful, sir. It's
Yeah,
like
that's
much needed for the
yeah.
individual.
I
Yes,
think these
really.
lectures I've been doing for about a year now. But then that's okay. I will be doing some lectures, participation, some clubs and all that. But more concentration will be given to the my wellness club. All right. I think that's enough of
Okay.
that advertisement. I will see you then tomorrow. Then. Okay. Bye. Bye.
So tomorrow what is today? What
Uh,
today you came at 8:30 according to your time, huh? According
no,
to
no,
your
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is our time, central time. 8 o'clock. Okay.
okay.
The
So
same
this
thing.
time morning, the same time, tomorrow
Yeah.
also.
For you, I think it will be 7:30 morning. For us, 8 p.m.
Okay,
My 8 p.m.
done, sir. Then I'll
My
pick up it.
8 is like tomorrow is Saturday, right?
Ah,
And
your 8 p.m. is my 7:30.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
7:30. So that's what. So basically, I come every day on that 8 o'clock, and India time 7:30 a.m. Okay. All right. I will see you then. Bye bye.
Bye, sir. Have a good day, sir. Have a good
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.